Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, episode 516, end of December 2024. I guess we could say, Tracy, it is the end of the year,
Yes.
2024. And do you know what that means? It's Home Price Forecast Week. It's my favorite week of the year. Okay, I don't know. It's my favorite week of the year because, it's Christmas and we got Hanukkah, and Hanukkah starts on Christmas Eve, I guess, this year.
Christmas Day.
It's wrapping up another year of real estate talk with, 10th year wrapping up here.
That's right. 10 years of being on the radio and online, giving out Albuquerque real estate information to all of you. We appreciate all of you listening in and being interested in the real estate world here along with us.
So we have forecasts. I've got a lot of data. If you guys ever listened, I always got a lot of data. We want to talk about the forecast for 2025 for real estate in Albuquerque and the housing market in Albuquerque.
And I have some fluff. I always do.
But you have some forecast fluff.
I have some forecast fluff to go with it, but it's not really data driven.
Okay. No,
and
that's
it's
good.
very subjective. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But,
I think a lot of the economists are very subjective too, but that's a whole nother conversation. And then, I want to share some really hard data on, is the housing market about to crash in Albuquerque? And the reason I bring that up is there was a story that came out this week that a bunch of people sent me because they were like, can this possibly be true? And so let's just start right there. Realtor.com, which is one of the big national, we call them portals, real estate portals. So think Zillow, think Homes.com, Trulia, Realtor.com, Redfin, you could put in that category as well. These are big national players that have home search websites. Well, Realtor.com has their own, group of economists that look at all the data, and they did their forecast for the top 100 markets in the country. And Albuquerque is number 62 in size. Okay, we're just talking about market size right now.
Okay.
But of the 100 markets they looked at, Albuquerque came in dead last for home price appreciation and home price or home sales in 2025. And I think they're just dead wrong. I really think they just made a mistake.
I think it's a typo. When you say mistake, you made a mistake, but I think it's literally a typo.
Yeah, they project that home prices in Albuquerque will drop by 4.1%, I think was what the number they gave for 2025. I even reached out or tried to reach out to some of the economists there. One of them I've engaged with on X before, Ralph, and haven't had any luck because I just there's nothing that makes any sense for that. I really think they meant plus 4%, not negative 4%.
Right. Typo.
And
that's what I mean.
yeah, and so and just to give perspective, Zillow, which is the other, big national real estate portal, and they have all their economists and they crunch the numbers, and they actually do an ongoing home price forecast where they, like, every month they do another forecast. They update, what's going to happen next quarter and what's going to happen next year. They're at 3.9% up.
Yeah.
So they're
increase.
projecting home values are going to increase 3.9% for 2025.
So that's almost an 8% spread. I mean, it just doesn't happen, right? -4 to almost +4.
Do you know how unprecedented it would be if home prices or home values dropped in Albuquerque 4% next year?
Yeah.
The only time that happened were those 3 years in 2008,
8 and
9, and 10.
Or 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah, no, not 11.
Well, 8, 9,
11 it had flattened out.
So Tego jumped right in. That's a very exciting story. It's been getting all the buzz, right? But let's tell people who we are and how to get a hold of us.
Wow, that I know. I went right into it.
You were so excited.
I was so excited to get on the radio, the podcast this week to talk about that because it was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back, a year from now and look at that and see how wrong they were, because I really do think they're wrong on that. But anyway, we got a whole bunch of other market forecast stuff, and I'll lay out my evidence for why I think Realtor.com is wrong. But we are the Venturi Realty Group. We are with Real Broker here in New Mexico, and you can reach us at 505 448-8888.
So we're a team of realtors who work together. They have support. So our realtors, we help them by having people that help them with paperwork or behind the scenes market data, stats, whatever they need to make sure that when they're out working with our buyers and sellers all together as in a partnership, that they have the best tools, the best training, and the best support. So give us a call if you're thinking of buying or selling. Even if it's not right now, even if it's down the road a ways, we can help you put that strategy in place for whatever your real estate goals are. Or if you know somebody that should know about us, let them know. But thank you for listening. And Tigo, let's jump right in.
Well, let's
Again,
talk about we had a lovely testimonial for somebody on our team this week, and I think it's great to share and give her kudos and the nice things that they
totally.
said about her.
So I actually had the opportunity to meet these clients because Corey Bristow, one of our amazing partners on our real estate team, was helping them both with selling their house and buying a house at the same time, which we all know can be tricky to make sure the timing is right and not have that gap in the middle where you're all packed up, but your new house isn't ready or your old house, previous house hasn't sold yet. So Corey was able to assist them. Great young couple with a young child wanting to move to a different part of town, kind of move up to a newer home. And so here's what it says. And the client's name is Jamie. I'm not going to give the last name, but it is on Google. She put her last name out there. But she said, Corey Bristow is amazing. I would choose her over and over again. She is understanding and caring and just a lovely person to be around. She helped us in every way possible and made the selling and buying process so easy. With her help, we were able to sell our house so fast. We couldn't have done it without her. So kudos to Corey. If you're looking, to have exceptional service also, give us a call or call Corey. She's available. So we're happy to get those testimonials
Very
that,
kind, and
they're
it's great when somebody takes the time to do that. So
yep.
anyway,
Yep.
that sure is appreciated. Okay, I want to jump into my next thing, which is the housing market in Albuquerque about to crash? Are we about to have a crash? And when I say crash, we're talking about uh, a decline in values, some substantial decline in values, getting back to the realtor.com story. And I want to lay out my case for what I see in the data and, well, not lay out my case, really, just give the data and you can draw your own conclusions.
So what sources do you think your data comes from? Is it a variety? Is it
It's a variety.
yeah.
And I think that's the thing I want to point out is a lot of times people will take one data point. And anybody that's done any bit of statistics knows that it's really easy to lie with statistics because you can pick and choose what you want to highlight and show and make an argument. So one argument is home prices have gone up 60% in the Albuquerque area in the last 5 years, right? That's like 12% a year.
The people who listen to us regularly know that.
Yeah.
So
This year, it's much more moderate. Just to give you an idea, I just wanna kind of highlight that for 2024, we're gonna end up somewhere in a 3-4% home price appreciation, closer to 4% for the year over year once all the numbers come in. You can mark that down right now when we actually get the data sometime in quarter.
early January
Yeah, well,
or
it depends which one you're talking about, but yeah, it's gonna be in that range.
that's right.
Yeah.
Things usually lag more than your numbers.
Well, and the thing that I like to point out is, okay, are we talking how much median sale price change? How much home values change for all homes, price per square foot? So yeah, again, you can pick and choose certain data, but I'm just saying across the board, 2024 is going to be somewhere in that three to probably mid 3 to 4% range.
So for people that are watching us online, you have a chart that's really interesting, Tigo. It's called Serious Mortgage Delinquency Rates.
Yeah. So
And this
actually, I haven't
chart
shared yet. Hold
up,
on. Hold on.
yeah, you better share it.
Okay.
It
Let me get
goes back this chart to 2000 and
three.
like 3.
Yeah, and so what I'm trying to lay out is, okay, to get into a decline in home prices, you need a lot of supply and low demand, right? Basic economics, right? You need a lot of supply, low demand, or very, very low demand and really, really high supply, right? Well, none of those things are happening right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're still 25% less homes on the market right now. Actually, let me bring that chart up since I've got it right here. So the number of homes on the market is still 25% below. Here's the chart. So we are about 1,700 homes on the market at the end of November. So just, right now, if we go back to November 2017, for example, or 2019, get there. There it is. It was about 2,200 homes on the market. So we're still at a low supply market historically. And even in 2019, we were doing the show and we were talking about, wow, it's not a lot of homes on the market.
Yep, we were.
So we're still in that low supply market. But the other part of that is, do we have distressed homeowners? And that's what you started to allude to with this chart, which is how many people are behind on their mortgage? How many people are not making their mortgage? And if you're seeing this online, you see this huge spike starting in really late 2007, obviously all the way through until 2010, where we got up to about 9% people being delinquent on their mortgage. We're a little bit higher than what it was during the pandemic years, but the pandemic years also had this
Forbearance.
beautiful thing called forbearance that helped a lot of people get through that time. It's ticked up a little bit, but we're still very low. If we look at
Tego,
okay, go ahead.
people who are listening, it's going to be worth it for you to go get on YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah.
Where else?
Yeah, YouTube and Facebook. I'll put it in there, those two
Those
places.
charts are just mind blowing when you look at how severe the drop off is on delinquency rates on homes and mortgages.
So if you look at it nationally, the delinquency rate is about 3.5%. So one thing to point out with that's only people that have a mortgage.
Right.
Is 3.5%. And there are more free and clear homes today than a very, very long time, meaning no mortgage.
Right. I was going to say free and clear is kind of a term we throw around. That means they own the house outright without a loan. And there are a large number of those in our market.
So nationally, it was 3.5 in Albuquerque, or excuse me, New Mexico. I don't have Albuquerque specific, 2.9%. So New Mexico is below the national average on delinquencies. And right now in New Mexico, there's only 0.4%, less than a half a percent of people that are in the foreclosure process. Again, these are people that have mortgages. We're not talking about people that have no mortgage. And that's actually a drop from last year. And this is the most current data we have. This is as of October.
So if you're looking at the chart online, I can't help but want to look at who's worst and who's best, right? Louisiana, Mississippi, I assume that's Alabama, AL, not Alaska.
Yeah, the South and the Southeast is the most,
up to 7.7%. And the best, Washington State at 1.8, then Colorado at 1.9%. So yeah, it's a pretty big spread when you
did
look
a
at.
really good job scanning through that really quick.
Well, you put a beautiful chart up there. I had to see, but I wanted to see where we were compared to the highs and lows.
Yeah.
And we're pretty low delinquency rate wise. So
and
that's good news.
Again, not a lot of distressed sellers from keeping up on their mortgage standpoint. The next, I don't want to do that chart yet. The next thing I want to talk about is homeowner equity. Another thing that it takes into account for, okay, are there people that are upside down on their mortgage? I don't think a lot of people understand that, meaning they owe more than the home is worth. And is there a lot of that out there? Well, one stat that I'll see thrown around a lot, again, these are the housing doomers, as we call them, the people that say the sky's falling, everything's going to fall apart. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. They say that mortgage debt is at the highest level in history. And that is true. But what about the other part of the equation? How much
equity,
how much value is there? There's currently $48 trillion worth of home real estate out there right now in the United States. 48 trillion. There's 13 trillion in debt. That's a big number, which means there's 35 trillion in equity in residential real estate in the United States. That is an all-time high.
That's huge. Yeah.
So there's my other argument for that. Okay, Albuquerque. I did this one, Tracy, a while ago.
Nice pie chart, Tego.
It got. Hey, man. Hey, I can
You can chart.
I can chart.
Yeah.
I can work a Excel sheet most days, most days.
No, you're good at it.
Well, and if I get stuck, I just ask ChatGPT now because it can help you. All right, what I did, because there was a stat saying that there's, there's a bunch of people in the Albuquerque area and everybody's got mortgage and a lot of people have high mortgages. Well, anyway, I did a deep dive and what I found is about 39% of all homeowners in the Albuquerque area, the greater Albuquerque area, 39% of them have no mortgage. Their house is paid
They
for
own it.
free and clear. Yep. And that's an all-time high as far as we can tell. And the other thing that's interesting is another 30% have a mortgage that's 4% or less,
Whew.
which means that again, they're in a, you think about a 4% mortgage right now, that's an asset when you consider that current rates, are around 7. So 39% are free and clear, another 30% have a 4% or less, another 17% have a 4 to 6%,
Interest rate on their mortgage.
and then there's only about 13% or so that are 6% or more. It's probably a little more than that now because this is a few months old data because it doesn't come out very often. But again, people have really, really good balance sheet. Homeowners have really, really good balance sheets right now.
So, I mean, you have me convinced, but I've seen all these stats. What else?
One more I'm going to do real quick. Another interesting stat to follow is home vacancy, which is how many homes are sitting vacant, nobody living in them. It was at an all-time low back 2021. It's moved up a little bit, but it's still below the average going back to 2005. So yes, there's some vacancy, but it's very, very low. There's not a
It
bunch
says
of ghost houses, that they call them, sitting out there.
it says 1.5. Is that 1.5 per 100 houses or something, or just 1.5%?
It's percent.
So that would be 1.5 out of 100
Yeah.
homes. So 1.5. Because when I'm out and about and meeting with clients, a lot of times, like I can tell you right now, one house that's sitting vacant. And the next door neighbor said, yeah, they moved to, I think it was Atlanta, and they just left the house. And they thought, if they don't like Atlanta, maybe they'll come back some year, but they haven't rented it out or anything. It's just sitting there,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know why else houses are vacant.
Yeah. So the real point of that chart was that home vacancies aren't like surging. There's not like
Not
this
a bunch of
a bunch,
distressed homes
yeah, a
sitting
bunch of
around. Yeah.
home sitting vacant. Home price forecast. Let's talk about this. This one just came out. This is the survey where they survey 100 different economists all over the country. And to make a long story short, they are saying 3.1% nationally in home price appreciation for 2025.
And that's across the board. For those of you that are looking at the chart, you can see it ranges from 5.5% to what is 0.6, and Moody's says negative 0.4. The
Yeah.
only one that said they're going to go down of note.
Those are national averages, but the truth is Albuquerque over the years has trended with the national averages for home prices because our market doesn't see the peaks and valleys like a lot on other markets. That's why that realtor.com, negative 4% for
Makes no
home
sense.
prices
Yeah.
for 25 makes no sense because it's just that would be that would take something that we've just never seen before.
Yeah, I guess we don't want to go there, but you could think of all the government and scientific industries and the Air Force Base here. Things like that would have to have a major shift
Yeah.
for
No.
something
Yeah,
to
it would.
change.
The other thing we've been following, and really, let's talk about it this way, Tracy, which is what are the headwinds for real estate in Albuquerque? I think we can all agree that it's affordability because there's definitely a group of people that would like to be homeowners that just aren't able to right now. Would you agree?
I would agree. And I know you've got pulled up mortgage rate projections.
Yeah, because I think that's another headwind with the
Right.
market is, these are the highest rates we've seen in a very long time. And I know us old timers think of 7% as low. I remember my first house and I got a 7%. I thought, oh my gosh, I hit the jackpot. The reality is we've been in this 4, 5, even down to 3% range for a very, very long time. So 7% is tough.
You said this is the highest we've seen in a long time. It's actually lower than the highest we've
Well,
seen. We were over 8.
Fair point.
And these projections for 2025, whether it's Fannie Mae, MBA, which is the Bankers Association, Wells Fargo, and then the average of all three, they're all in the low to mid sixes is their thought of what we're going to see in 2025.
Yeah, and
So,
I think there's gonna be continued volatility in the mortgage rates, meaning we're gonna see some peaks, we're gonna see some valleys, and if, you're thinking of buying, that's something you wanna keep an eye on because if you can get a quarter point better, that might make a big difference for you.
yeah, and over the long run, home ownership, even at 7% interest rates, typically is still better than being a renter,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tigo, you are the man with the charts.
I'm the man with the chart.
You've
So I've
got
I've
this
I
going.
just put up another chart here. This is actually on our website, and what I have are the home price indexes. I have both FHFA, which is the kind of the big government entity that looks at everything, and I also have the Zillow home value index. And like I said, they're both tracking somewhere in this like for the FHFA, they show 4.1%. Now that's just through September, so just through the third quarter. And if I look at the Zillow home value index, which looks at it a little bit different, where like the FHFA, it looks at what homes sold for, actually just looking at what homes sold for or if they've been refinances versus the Zillow home value index, they're looking at the values
Of every house in
every
the
house.
country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the country, but here in Albuquerque, they have us at 3.4% home values increasing in this year. And again, meaning Zillow, they're projecting 3.9% increase. And I've got that here somewhere. Yeah, they've got us at 3.9 for 2025. So that would be November through November of 25. So that's what I'm seeing there. Back to the I don't know, headwinds. We talked about affordability and that mortgage rates are high, and that's a challenge for a lot of folks. Do you feel like people are more accepting of the kind of the new normal in mortgage rates?
I think it varies quite a bit across the board, actually. I think us saying, hey, in 2025, we're still going to be in the sixes. So if you've been waiting, don't wait.
Yeah, if you're waiting for, a big drop in mortgage rates and that's
Get
gonna
a
be the
house
thing.
instead, especially this time of year, Tigo. What we're finding right now is some of our buyers are finding great homes without the competition that they had earlier this fall, right? They're not having to make multiple offers on different houses because they lose out on one. They're not competing with other buyers for a house that comes on the market. Now, not always. There's still a little bit of, multiple offers, but in general, this time of year, if sellers have the house on the market, they need to sell. They really want to sell. They're not having as many showings, but each showing that they get is somebody who truly wants to buy a house right now. They're not tire kickers. They don't like to just go to open houses on Sunday this time of year, right?
Yeah, yeah, no,
So,
true.
but it's a great time because there's homes available that are ready and they look great, and then you're not in so much competition. So, it might be a great time to go find your perfect home.
So what else do you project or predict for 2025? I think you've got some other data you wanted to
Is
share.
this my light and fluffy section?
Well, it could be.
Yeah. So you said we're going to talk about 2025. So I thought about immediately, I was thinking about your sister, the interior designer that is in Scottsdale, Arizona, and you had her on the show once. And I was thinking about design trends in 2025 and designer colors, how they came out with that new color, Pantone, I don't know,
Well,
whatever.
yeah, Pantone every year comes
Every
out with a
year.
color. Yeah,
Yeah, it comes
yeah,
out with the color of the year, and when it came out this year, I went, "Oh, please, nobody." I don't even remember
yeah.
what
It
it
was
was,
periwinkle a couple of years ago, and that was a pretty color.
but this year's I thought was terrible, so I hope people aren't painting all their
Yeah, I don't
interior
remember what it
walls
was.
that color. But anyway, design trends for 2025. So one of them is bold wallpaper. And you and I, we have seen some bold wallpaper, right?
Yeah,
A whole mural across a living room wall or a whole wallpaper scene that's like a picture, one picture blown up on a bathroom wall, right? We saw one behind a mirror in a bathroom, and it was like gold and black and foil and just beautiful, right? There we go. There's that color of the year.
Okay,
Mocha
I
mousse.
have to screen share here. Okay, stay with me here. So I just searched Pantone color of the year is mocha mousse. It's basically
Chocolate.
brown,
Brown.
light brown.
I'm like, I don't think we need a lot of accent walls in mocha mousse, but okay,
Well, and
maybe.
the thing is, I mean, when they say color of the year, I mean, Pantone obviously is more about, print colors, but still it's, people pick up on it for sure. Yeah.
Print colors. Okay. So bold wallpaper, bold colors.
Okay, now
Also
now I'm curious. I got to look at what 25 was if you're
24 or
or this I'm sorry,
23
24.
was peach fizz.
Yeah, peach
Peach
fuzz.
fuzz.
Yeah, peach fuzz. That's right. That's right. That's why it was so hilarious. Everybody was saying peach fuzz. Okay. All right. And then what year was 2023 was Viva Magenta, and
Magenta.
that was a pretty color. So anyway,
Very
sorry, I
pretty.
got you way off
Very
track.
pretty. So bold colors, but also muted colors, which is kind of a juxtaposition there, right? Modern and clean is coming back. I know we've seen that more in home design. Comfortable, complex, muddier pink, purple, green, and yellow tones that have earthy, grounded bases. Then
Mhm.
there's the bold accent walls that are in vogue. So it could be that bold wallpaper, the wallpaper that stands out from the rest of the decor. When I think of wallpaper, I think of those repeating pattern wallpapers, but we're talking about one picture that's blown up that covers the whole wall,
Sure.
right?
Yep. And
Where you have to
we
line
saw
them
that in
up.
a house in Phoenix.
Yep. Couple of them. Yeah. And then combining style with functionality, sustainability, and wellness, whether you're drawn to minimalist or not, which I'm not. I like modern contemporary, but not really minimalist. I don't know how you define the differences, but rich textures, natural stone, bold statements. So that's kind of what's out on the forecast for 2025.
Did you see anything in your research about the McMansion, which I think a lot of people, are kind of familiar with, which was, really big, lots of square footage, high ceilings, big open spaces.
I did not. But when you're asking me that question, I did not come across anything. But thinking about what buyers have been looking for this year, I'm finding people a little more drawn to less open spaces, a little bit more definition from the kitchen to the dining to the living area. They want, different ceiling heights or something from one room to the other, or a little bit of separation I'm seeing. And we've had a few people that are more into formal dining rooms again. I think people are maybe getting together more, or
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, that's just
Yeah.
my
I mean,
take
formal
on.
dining rooms went away
Yeah,
almost.
pretty much everybody has like a island seating or bar seating and one table. But we've had several people, it's their criteria is I need a formal
Interesting.
dining room. You're like,
Well,
okay,
one thing we know that has happened over the last few years with the new construction, with the new home builders,
the floor
is
plans.
downsizing just from they call it value engineering,
Right,
where they're trying to get the home in a price range that works for folks, and so they just they have to squeeze down the square footage. Of course, just making it smaller doesn't make it cheaper because usually the expensive stuff is kitchen, bathrooms, yada
right,
yada yada,
right.
right? But yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
anyway, that's it's interesting. We'll see how that plays out.
yeah, we have had clients who have wanted that smaller square footage too. They're thinking about upkeep and taking care of it and cleaning, and they don't need all that extra square footage to heat and cool.
Well, certain of people of a certain age,
I
um,
don't know who you're talking
yeah, I'm
about.
not are thinking about that, especially if they want that lock and leave, meaning they can, low maintenance, good efficiency,
Yep.
but yet, they want to be able to just lock it and do their trip and not have to worry about it. So
Do we
there's
have time
definitely
for
that.
me to go off topic for a second about that?
We do not.
Okay. I won't talk about my favorite active 55 plus adult community
And
then.
where would that be?
Well, there's Muirhaven and then Alegria, and I hope that Del Webb does another one soon because they're both sold out. But there's
Rumor is it's in the pipeline.
oh good. Okay, perfect. When you think about, downsizing, those places are awesome. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, perfect. Okay,
total
that was a good wrap.
2025, Tigo. That was awesome. Good job putting all that data together and encapsulating it for us and bringing that historic in to really bring home, some truth to it, right?
Yeah, and, guaranteed to be I don't know,
It's guaranteed to be our forecast
yeah,
and
yeah, and just to put a bow on this, Tracy, I mean, I do forecast that home prices are gonna grow in 2025. I do forecast that the number of homes selling is gonna grow, but of course, we're coming off a pretty low level this year, about 10,000 for 2024. We'll probably grow a little bit, it won't be huge.
that's still a lot of home sites, a lot of people moving when you say
Well,
10,000.
yeah, that's 20,000 when you put it together, right?
Right,
That's,
that's
20
20,000
peop
families
yeah.
making a change.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it is, and, I mean, we were at, about 15,000 at one point, so say 30,000 families making a change here, in 2021, so but I just don't see anything putting a lot of downward pressure on home prices, and there's the last thing I'll say, there is a saying in, real estate econ, which is, "Home prices are sticky on the downside." Meaning people are much more reluctant to sell if they feel like they're going to lose when they sell, and they'll just stick it
stay.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us, for being a part of our ongoing 10 years of being online and listening to our real estate banter, as we call it, Tigo.
Yep.
And have a great week. Have a great holiday season, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Take care.